for James and Jacoy. Raise your hand.
We'll get started. Who wants to lead us off?
So James, you didn't step off the floor tonight, hit 5 threes. I don't know, what did you make of the general performance today, personal and kind of as a team?
I think we played hard. I think we definitely gave effort, but just didn't do enough to win on the defensive end. I mean, they shoot 75% in the first half. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Good.
Obviously, with injuries to Johnson and Buchanan was a little banged up. Everyone's getting kind of more minutes. Trey started tonight. You guys were on the floor a lot together. With all these new rules developing, how do you guys see kind of the offense changing? And I noticed there's a lot of driving, kicking back out, kind of a lot of two-man game with Akimbola. What's kind of the game plan going forward?
Cody, you want to take that?
Just like you said, we got a couple guys out, so just as we go through the week, just planning with whatever we have and trying to keep as much people healthy as we can and deciding the game plan with that. And I guess today was just to be, getting pick and roll, get their big man some action, and we had a lot of shooting on the floor also, so just try to take advantage of that.
Either player, the way that Richmond runs their offense when things are clicking, I think they did 17 of 23 shots in the first half. What's the toughest part of staying with them and trying to keep them at bay? Even though you guys see them twice a year, it's a tough animal to continue.
They run a good offense. They got good players. They do a lot of movement with their talent. They get the ball moving a lot and are able to create shots. So, they kind of keep you in rotation a lot. So it's pretty tough to guard, for sure.
Yeah.
And that run there in the second half where you guys trimmed it to 4, what was working for you guys? What was clicking in that stretch where you guys were able to, make what was, I think it was down to 15 and you guys sliced it to 4?
I think we tried to switch it up a little bit, try to slow them down, try to switch to the zone a little bit to get them moving the ball around and taking some tough shots. And if it went in our favor for a little bit, and then they adjusted like most good teams do. So they had us on our heels the whole game. So we just gotta learn from this.
Liam.
Jacoy, you've kind of established yourself and started getting more minutes in these last few games recently. Can you kind of talk about the balance between, obviously the team as a whole is kind of having this tough run, but you're, in your freshman year, kind of starting to establish yourself in college basketball. I can imagine that's a little difficult, maybe mentally. Can you kind of talk about, I don't know, what that's like?
Yeah, I got you. It's like you said, it's like definitely a learning experience. A lot of, but it's also I put it into perspective. Like there's a lot of freshmen in the country who aren't able to be in my position to get minutes. So I'm just trying to learn from guys like JB, even times like this, who are still you see them out there head up, still playing, still trying to play hard. So just taking those things from the older guys on the team. That's what I've been applying to me.
It seemed in the first half, offensively, ball movement was a little bit better. Second half, defensively, you guys were a little bit better. Any positives that you think from this game you can take? St. Joe's, SLU, LaSalle coming up. Any positives?
Yeah, I think just our effort to fight back in the second half, and then offensively just seeing when we move the ball and get the defense moving, we're able to create good shots for ourselves. So trying to just build on that and take that into the next couple games that we got.
Obviously, Jacoy, you have found your shot lately. You've put up very good numbers against Richmond the past 2 times you've faced them. What has let you kind of find yourself in the offense as more of a go-to scorer versus a more facilitating role?
Just doing my best to complement, for example, JB. I know he's a ball dominant, and being ready to whenever he gets a chance to get off the ball, just taking care of that and doing my part with that. But I think it's just trusting the process, just working hard every day. We're not really looking at the results of the games or the losing streak, nothing. Just trying to get better every day, working hard as a team.
Liam, last one.
I'm just kind of curious. Obviously, 8-game losing streak. It's really difficult to kind of keep morale up. I mean, kind of how do you kind of work to, keep morale up and not get discouraged after such a tough stretch?
I think just continue to lean on each other. Continue to come in every single day, trying to get better. Keep believing that every game that we can win, because we're in a lot of these games. So we know that just like we've lost a couple, we can win a couple. So just keeping our head up, continue to work, and just let the results be what they are.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Good stuff, JB. Thank you.
Just be like with a team that has a chance, that's the day before it was all about that part of the season. It's kind of, how do you keep your team, like, what's the focus?
Alex applies it to
Last year, just my question.
All right, we'll take it over to Tim for coaches and questions.
Yep. Yeah, obviously, credit to Richmond. They came out. They were, I thought, a little bit sloppy for their standards on Wednesday, and very clean today in the first half. Obviously, I thought Neil Quinn. Part of the decisions you make, how do you defend Princeton-esque things, and we had I thought, what was a good plan at their place, and was pretty successful for a couple of teams. So we tried again, and he made us pay for it, which we had to adjust. But it's also a little bit of us too, in terms of our just ability to have people make people feel us is difficult right now. So, but credit to them. I was happy with the way our team responded in the second half. Obviously, cutting it to 4. Got good play out of some guys. Obviously, Darren is still dealing with his groin issue, clearly. Can't really even sit down. Like when we pregame talk, he's got to stand. He can't sit. No Garrett. So, yeah, we're dealing with a little bit of those things that some teams deal with, a lot of teams deal with this time of year. But, again, I was happy with our fight. Liam?
It's the second straight game you guys have given up 50 points in the first half.
Yeah.
What was the defensive game plan today, and I don't know, maybe what do you attribute that to?
This is not like I'm not taking a shot at anybody. Like you just individually look at the guys. We have freshman defenders, and we have guys who historically are not great defenders. It's just the reality of it. Today's defensive game plan is to be in goalie and put a guy who hasn't blocked many shots in the last 3 or 4 games, but has blocked, a lot of shots on the season. I think he's going to break the single season record for blocks. Like, you put him at the rim, which is what we did at their place, and got ourselves a 12-point lead with that, where he takes away those back cuts, and then he's got to come up to the level when King is coming off, because you can't let King get clean. Now, again, to their credit, Neil Quinn makes some shots early and kind of sets the tone. And look, Darren's probably our best individual defender. He can't barely move. He didn't play in the last game. The reason why Garrett didn't play today is he probably shouldn't have played in the last game. He's having a really hard time moving. You start taking a little bit of size out of there, and you're smaller, right? And JaCoy, James, Trey, it's a smaller lineup. So it's a little bit of that. We're still, again, we're in the opening stages of trying to build this thing in a way where we have more men, where we're older. Usually the younger teams struggle defensively. We're 3rd in the country in minutes for freshmen. We're 3rd in the country in points for freshmen. Usually the freshman groups are not going to be as good defensively. And we've tried, but we mixed it up in the second half, and they shot 30-something% and 27% from 3, so I was happy with that. Can we put 40 minutes together defensively right now at this moment? I'm hoping, but I understand why not at this point,
Dave,
Curious if you could highlight what went right in that second half rally where you trimmed it to, I think, 4.
4, yeah. Yeah, man, 4, and we couldn't get to Bailey's feet on that kick out 3, or could have gotten interesting there. But yeah, we switched up into a kind of a funky zone, and hoped that they would get them out of rhythm and stand them up a little bit, and it did. And then we were able to, play in some transition situations and make some plays on offense. But it was all about getting stops. It was all about getting stops, and we could. You can't shoot 76%. Somebody shoots 76% in the first half. It's not, something's got to change. And it's not like the rah-rah speech with guys. Like, it's more like, hey, we got to change schematically here. And we did, and obviously it paid some dividends in the second half.
And when you spend so much mental, energy getting to 4, and then they knock down that 3, they get.
Yeah, well, they're a good team. I mean, they're a veteran team. They're starting 5 seniors, right? 3 fifth-year seniors. They went through it last year, had a losing record, added some guys. I had a losing record in the league, added some guys, and now, I've been a part of those teams too, where you have a veteran team. My last Miami team, 5 third, 4th, and 5th-year guys, and they're like hardened by a lot of experience, and they're ready to answer the bell in those situations. And again, that's why they're having a great season.
And King, I think, had 32 down there against
Yeah.
you guys. You held him to 7 in the first half.
Guy's a great player. I mean, we tried to bring it up at the level a little bit more, whereas, that's the decision, right? Do you give up back cuts early in the game? Do you stay back there? You try to fight over some of those handoffs. Now you got to bring him up a little bit higher to bring 2 guys towards him in that situation. Guy's a terrific player. He's a great shooter. He elevates. He's had a great year. And again, that's credit to them. He comes from Middle Tennessee State. He was at Siena before that, so now he's been at 3 schools and has found really a great rhythm here in his 5th year. Guys, go ahead. I'll take as many as I have to take.
Yeah, so obviously 8-game losing streak.
Yeah.
The team's put together good performances, but never quite a full game.
Yeah.
You look ahead at the schedule, a road trip, including St. Lou, where we haven't won on the road. What's kind of your messaging to the team, knowing that it's like, do you treat it as we play through these games to get to the tournament and play better there, or how do you keep morale up? Yeah,
I've never been part of an 8-game losing streak, so this is a first for me. But again, I think you really can't worry about results as much as you worry about process, and that sounds like a cliche, but I thought that's kind of what, aside from our youth, which I think is real, aside from some injuries, which I think are real, I do think there's a little bit of the result-driven mentality of young people that got us into this situation. And so I've tried to fight that for as much as I can, with the idea that, hey, we played a pretty good game against Loyola Chicago here, and then Darren's out, and Garrett's not really healthy, and you know what? It's going to be really hard to win that game. That's going to be a hard game to play well without essentially 2 of your 3 best players. And then we come back here and we have a bad first half, but we actually played okay. It's a little bit more to Richmond there, and then we have a pretty clean, good second half. So I think the process thing, keeping them positive there. There's guys with a lot of career ahead of them. It's unfortunate. I don't think anybody felt, a month ago like that we were going to be in this situation. I thought, we win at VCU, and that ain't an easy place to win. And obviously see what they're doing now. And we beat Mason here cleanly, up 15. I don't think we trailed in that game. And at the end of that, I'm thinking, hey, things are going pretty well. But the reality is, I do think, and this might be for another time, we're walking a tightrope, in some ways. And so we got to figure out a way to get back on the tightrope. We'll still walk the tightrope. It's not like it'll be as solid, but we can find a way to get back on there and play well. And I don't really talk to them about winning and losing, but the reality is, if we can find a way to get 3 more, then we've won more than they've won here in 7 years. And, there's things to play for, obviously.
Can you talk about decision? Max had a pretty good game today, but came off the bench for Trey, who hasn't started since non-conference.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, a lot of decisions I make don't work. I guess this one worked today because the guy played good coming off the bench. So it's just my discretion, how I feel, But it seemed to maybe it helped Max a little bit. He played I thought, a very good game,
I mean, do you have a message maybe to the fans? 8-game losing streak.
Yeah.
GW hasn't had an 8-game losing streak since I was in first grade.
Oh, great. So I'm breaking some more records here. Yeah, that's good.
So I'm just curious kind of what the message to the fans would be in the midst of this.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think, one, I appreciate everybody coming out. We've had some really great crowds. I think even today, we're on a 7-game losing streak and you don't know what'll show up. I thought we had a great crowd. I think the answer is, listen, like this was not going to be a quick turnaround here in terms of, as I have said, and I have to intellectualize this for people who would like things to be intellectualized for them, right? Right. That's the point. It's like, well, nobody really cares, right? They just want you to win games. That's fine. I can do that. But if you want it to be intellectualized, the reality is like, hey, this was a program that won the NIT, had 3 NBA players on the team, and then between that moment and when I got hired, college basketball changed tremendously in every way, right? NIL, transfers, facilities, the way we feed guys, cost of attendance, the way people travel at this level, facilities at this level, like everything changed. And now we're in a wonderful position that we have tremendous leadership at the university level, President Granberg, our board, Tanya Vogel, like Bruno Fernandez, like everybody here is completely aligned in the vision of what we need to do here to get this place to be one of the programs that's at the very top of the league. But we don't do that by wishing. It's just, if we just go to bed and wish it at night, that shit ain't going to work, right? We actually have to do things to do it. And we are in the process of doing things. If you look at our freshman class, is there a better freshman class? Maybe not in the country, statistically, right? Maybe Kentucky's group, which, and by the way, just so you know, those guys won't be there next year, right? So for me, I think it's stay with us. I think we're starting to create a great environment in the Smith Center, win, lose, or draw, where people have an exciting environment and atmosphere and a way to spend a great Saturday. I think we've got exciting, good young players in the program. And I think the reality is that this was not going to be flipped overnight in this climate.
Can we expect to see Garrett or June on Wednesday?
Yeah, June's really tried, today. And I think he was mentally a little bit like, he kind of knew he didn't like that transition layup that he shot that he like kind of barely got in. I think we all know like he would have hammered that two weeks ago. Yeah, it's just, so he's really trying. He's 19 years old. He's really trying to be a leader, and he's a real great competitor, and I appreciate that from him, but we're never going to put him in harm's way either. And so like we weren't going to do that against Mason, and we were not sure he was going to go today, but yesterday he was able to practice some, and he wanted to try. So we'll just go day to day there. And Garrett's in the same boat. He's day to day, and just didn't really like the way he was moving. He was having some discomfort. It's nothing that clinical or anything like that. It's just more like his mobility is just not at a place where he or we think he could really be effective, and you don't want to send him down a path of trying to do things that he really can't do physically. So.
Yeah, finally, obviously Antoine Smith had 18 minutes today, a lot of run. How do you feel about that kind of stretch 5, stretch 4? Obviously, he had a couple offensive boards.
Yeah.
Was crashing. Is that something you see going forward?
Well, he's given us some good minutes here in the last few games. I think it's a good question. Quite honestly, I don't think anybody really knew that Darren was going to kind of be you have a vision of maybe what he could be as a player, right? But did I know he was going to be this type of player in the first year? I don't think anybody. I mean, think if they knew that at Virginia Tech, he'd still be there, right? So, going forward, there are things we have to address roster-wise to give us a better chance. And first of is we have to get a little bit older and more versatility defensively, a little bit more size defensively, right? But yeah, on the laundry list of things, on the list of things, yeah, putting some shooting around him in the front court could obviously unlock him even more. But again, it's not the only thing. It's something, when you think in the back of your mind of like what might be nice versus what's necessary.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Guys, we're going to bring Chris Mooney and Neil Quinn. We'll do opening statement from Chris Mooney, then